Did you know that for over 150 years, Latin American government paid the Europeans to breed out their darker-skinned citizens? This racist move was called blanqueamiento, a racist campaign to whiten their entire population. Brazil alone brought in 4 million Europeans, offering them free land, housing, and cash. From the statistics, scientists created charts claiming it took 3 generations with whites to purify the natives and the black blood. It was predicted that the indigenous and black people would disappear by the year 2012 through forced whitening. European immigrants received better jobs, free transportations, and tax breaks, while the blacks were banned from immigrating. In Argentina, the black population dropped from 33% to less than 1%. The strategy seems to be clearly working. Unfortunately, the campaign worked. Many indigenous communities were torn apart as lighter-skinned children were given more privileges and rights. Unfortunately, black people have lost their history, their culture, traditions, their economy, their land, their sovereignty. We are comfortably losing more and giving them more opportunity to determine our future.
And so Africa goes from 1 billion people to 4 billion people. So when we get to 11 billion, we're at 7 now, most of the increment is in Africa. The rest is the aging Asians living longer, that they go from 4 to 5 billion. And so in this report, we say, look, that's great, we got to 9%, but we could stay at 9% for the next 30 years unless we do a lot of really good investments in health and education and governance in Africa. Unless we do a lot of really good investments in health and education and governance in Africa.
You see, we should be wary whenever our government leaves the country and goes out claiming it's looking for foreign investments. These people are looking for our country to invest in health, governance, and education. Why? Because they have an agenda. Do we really think these people are really interested in the growth of Africa? Okay, let's analyze. What relationship does a tech guy have to do with investment of another country? If not for the fact that it is going to benefit him, and we think they are giving us foreign aid because they love us. Some daft thinking human beings will also come and say that where would we be if we were not colonized? They were doing us a favor by colonizing us. Are you okay? History is no longer far-fetched today. Log into the internet, go to Google and go and search. History is everywhere. It's in our faces, but we don't want to go. We're not interested in it. We prefer to sit down and try as much as possible as we can to be as white as possible. Bleaching our skins to be as white as possible. Imbibing Western cultures into our traditions and taking for granted the traditions we have. Our culture. Now, if it is not a white wedding, you're not ready to get married. If it's not white wedding, and it is in our face, it's called white wedding, bro. It's called white wedding in your face. But no, traditional wedding now is like abomination, or is what do they call it? Yeah, traditional wedding is primitive. Primitive. You're doing traditional wedding. And you know the worst thing is, our religious leaders even encourage these things. Like one of the major pushes we have for westernization and imbibing Western cultures into our way of life today is coming even from the religion and the religious leaders. But we don't want to open our eyes to admit that these people have left us behind. Wake up, Africa. We're left back. And the worst part is this. At least in those days, we knew who the enemy was. We knew how to physically combat them. You see, today, the enemies they now have the same skin colors. They have the same skin color as we do. They are blacks now. And we see them every day. Yes, we see them every day. But the difference is, it is in the mentality. So you cannot enter somebody's mind, but you can still judge by their actions and reactions. You can tell if this is a white man in a black skin. I'm not saying that the whites are evil, but I'm saying that the evil we are suffering from today is from the whites. cut ties with everything. Bro!
Make we talk something. We never talk before. And we they see